Okay, let's unpack this. Picture a house. Not just any house, right?
Right.
But one sprawling across 4 stories, 160 rooms, hammered together relentlessly for what, 38 years? By one
It's
woman.
pretty incredibly when you think about it.
And imagine staircases climbing straight into ceilings, doors opening to solid brick, windows peering into the rooms next door.
Yeah, it sounds almost like something out of a dream or maybe a nightmare.
But it's absolutely real. Today we're taking a deep dive into the Winchester Mystery House, a
Yeah.
true architectural enigma.
And what's fascinating right from the start is just the sheer dedication, decades of continuous building. And the central question that just hangs in the air, why? What drove Sarah Winchester to create this sprawling, often kind of nonsensical structure?
Exactly. Was it, like the story suggests, this desperate attempt to placate unseen forces?
That's the big legend, isn't it?
Yeah, we're looking at Sarah Winchester, the woman behind it all. She was the heiress to the Winchester Repeating Arms Company fortune.
The gun that won the West.
That's the one. Those iconic rifles. That's where the immense wealth came from. The money that funded this whole extraordinary project.
And, if we step back for a moment, you can kind of see how the incredible success of a company built on firearms could lead to certain narratives.
The blood money angle.
Well, yeah. The Winchester rifle played a huge role in history, and with that comes, the inevitable question of its impact and the lives it affected.
Then layer on top of that the deeply personal tragedies that struck Sarah. First, losing her infant daughter, Annie. Just devastating.
Absolutely. A parent's worst nightmare.
And then just a few years later, her husband, William Winchester, dies too.
It's just impossible to fully grasp the depth of that grief.
Totally.
And it raises a crucial point about how profound loss can shape our actions, our beliefs even.
Right. Grief can manifest in really unexpected ways. And in Sarah's case, it seems like it got tangled up with some other powerful influences.
Which brings us to this pivotal point in the story, almost a legendary turning point, you could say.
The medium.
Exactly. Our sources talk about how, after her husband's death, Sarah apparently sought guidance from a Boston medium.
And this is where it gets really interesting. The medium allegedly delivered a rather dramatic pronouncement.
Yeah, what's compelling here is this alleged connection drawn between the family's success and some kind of spiritual consequence. The medium supposedly told Sarah that the Winchester family was cursed. Cursed by the spirits of those killed by Winchester rifles.
Wow.
And that these spirits were now seeking, retribution.
So what was the solution, according to the medium?
Well, the advice was move west to California, buy some land, and start building a house.
Okay.
But here's the kicker. Never stop building.
Never stop.
Never stop. This constant construction, according to the prophecy, was the only way to appease these spirits and, keep death away.
So did she do it?
She did. In 1886, Sarah Winchester packed up, moved to San Jose, California, and bought a farmhouse, an 8-room farmhouse.
Just 8 rooms. It's hard to picture that now.
Right. Quite a contrast to imagine that simple place is the seed of the architectural labyrinth it would eventually become.
And transform it did. For the next 38 years, right up until she died in 1922, the sound of construction just never stopped.
Day and night, they say.
Day and night. And Sarah, with absolutely no formal architectural training, she was the one calling the shots, designing these additions as they went.
Yeah, it's hard to even fathom the scale and the seemingly improvisational nature of it all.
It's like this organic, almost stream of consciousness approach to building, isn't it?
Totally. Not like a planned expansion. More like a continuous evolution driven by her vision, or maybe, as she might have believed, by forces beyond her control.
And the features themselves are just, they're bizarre. We're talking staircases that just end abruptly at the ceiling.
The witch's cap staircase, yeah.
That's it. And doors that open into thin air or just straight into a solid wall. Windows looking into other interior rooms, or sometimes just walls.
It's like stepping into an M.C. Escher drawing, but, real.
Exactly. These specific details really highlight the strangeness.
And the maze-like corridors, twisting and turning, the hidden rooms and secret passages. It creates this feeling that the house is deliberately meant to confuse you.
Or something else. And then there's the number 13.
Everywhere.
Right. 13 bathrooms, windows with exactly 13 panes of glass, staircases built with 13 steps.
Clearly that number meant something profound to her. Though what exactly, we We don't really know for sure.
And don't forget the weird stuff, like rooms built entirely inside other
Oh,
rooms.
yeah.
And only one shower despite, what, 13 bathrooms?
It all suggests a very particular mindset, maybe even obsessive, guiding the design. The inconsistencies, the weird choices, they feel intentional, even if the logic isn't obvious.
So that original 8-room farmhouse, it eventually ballooned into this sprawling 4-story mansion, 160 rooms, 24,000 square feet.
Wow.
The cost at the time was reportedly around $5.5 million, which was just a staggering amount of money back then.
Absolutely phenomenal wealth.
Think about this. 10,000 windows, 47 fireplaces, but only 17 chimneys.
Wait, 47 fireplaces, 17 chimneys. How does that work?
I know. And 40 different stairways. The sheer volume of materials and labor is just mind-boggling.
And the quality, too. You mentioned the materials. High-end stuff.
Oh, yeah. Redwood, gold and silver chandeliers, fancy parquet floors, stained glass windows, some rumored to be by Tiffany.
It really underscores the resources she had and her unwavering commitment to this endless project.
And the most common theory, the one that really grabs people, is that this bewildering layout, all those dead ends and illogical paths, were deliberately designed to confuse spirits.
Malevolent spirits, yeah, like she was building a giant, intricate ghost trap.
Exactly.
It's a compelling idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the weird architecture certainly makes you think. A physical space designed to actively thwart unseen entities. It's deeply intriguing.
But, our sources also push us to think about other motivations, maybe not just supernatural ones. While the haunting belief seems pretty central, some theories suggest maybe certain rooms were meant as, resting places for good spirits.
Interesting. Providing sanctuary, perhaps.
Maybe. And when you factor in the immense personal losses Sarah went through.
The grief.
Yeah, the psychological explanations become really relevant too, don't they? Maybe the constant building was a way to cope?
A coping mechanism, yeah, or a way to channel her grief, give her purpose, or just a massive distraction from all the sorrow and maybe even guilt.
It's also fascinating to consider that maybe she just genuinely got interested in architecture and design.
Right. Our sources say she subscribed to architectural magazines and journals, and she was deeply involved, meeting daily with her foreman.
So she wasn't just blindly following orders from a medium.
Does that sound like it? It suggests real engagement, personal interest, some creative agency, even if her methods were unconventional.
And she was surprisingly modern in some ways. The house had its own gas manufacturing plant, a water tower for hot and cold running water, push-button lights, even a conservatory with this fancy watering and drainage system.
Those were definitely not standard features back then.
Yeah.
That points to an interest in technology and comfort, not just, ghosts.
And remember the upside-down pillars?
Oh, yeah. Frank Lloyd Wright used that technique, too. She thought it was stronger.
Right. Apparently. And the floating foundation, which is credited with helping the house survive earthquakes, that shows some practical thinking about, living in California.
Very practical concern there.
Speaking of earthquakes, the big one, the 1906 San Francisco earthquake, really hit the house hard.
Yeah, sources say a huge 7-story tower collapsed.
And there was major damage to the north wing, including Sarah's own bedroom, the Daisy bedroom.
And her reaction to that is pretty telling, isn't it?
How so?
Well, instead of just fixing the damage, she reportedly saw it as a sign, like the spirits were angry. So she just sealed off those damaged sections entirely, didn't repair them, just boarded them up.
Which just added another layer of complexity to the already maze-like house.
Exactly. And apparently you can still see that damaged Daisy bedroom today if you visit.
Wow. It's like a physical scar on the house reflecting her reaction, like this ongoing dialogue between Sarah, the house, and whatever she believed was going on.
And our sources paint a picture of her living a very secluded life inside this constantly growing mansion.
Must have been an incredibly strange existence, just navigating this bizarre place she was creating day by day.
Yeah. Then, in September 1922, at 82 years old, Sarah passed away.
And the construction just stopped.
Immediately.
Completely.
Complete halt. It's almost eerie to imagine that sudden silence after nearly 4 decades of nonstop hammering and building.
So what happened to the house then?
Well, it was sold. And remarkably quickly, just a year later in 1923, it opened to the public as a tourist attraction.
That was fast.
Yeah, John and Mamie Brown bought it and turned it into the attraction we know today. A swift change from this private, eccentric home to a public spectacle.
And I bet with the tourists came the ghost stories.
Oh, absolutely. Visitors, staff members, They've reported all sorts of things over the years: disembodied voices, footsteps in empty hallways, doors moving on their own, cold spots.
And isn't there a specific ghost they talk about?
Yeah, apparently there's a recurring figure they affectionately call Clyde.
Clyde the ghost. Okay.
The persistence of these accounts has definitely cemented the house's haunted reputation. Even Harry Houdini visited in 1924.
The great debunker. What did he say?
Well, that's the interesting part. He notably didn't publicly denounce it as a hoax. He even apparently suggested the name Winchester Mystery House.
Huh. That adds another layer, doesn't it? Houdini being stumped, or at least quiet.
It does, but our sources also remind us to look at more practical explanations for some of the weirdness.
Like what?
Well, those staircases with the really small steps. Maybe they were built like that because Sarah might have had rheumatoid arthritis, making it easier for her to climb.
Oh, that makes sense.
And the sealed-off sections could simply be because of the earthquake damage, not angry spirits.
Right. It's important to keep that balanced perspective. Practical reasons versus supernatural ones.
Definitely. But the sheer volume and strangeness of it all, it keeps people wondering.
And it's worth pointing out, she wasn't just this eccentric recluse. Our sources mention her progressive social views.
Yeah, hiring staff from diverse backgrounds, which wasn't common then. And she funded a tuberculosis hospital.
So there was this other side to her, community-minded, philanthropic.
Adds another dimension to her character, doesn't it? A woman of contradictions, eccentric in private, but also engaged with the world.
And the house itself, its legacy goes way beyond San Jose. It's supposedly inspired Disneyland's Haunted Mansion.
I've heard that too.
And it's been in movies like that Winchester film and the Rose Red miniseries. It's really cemented its place in pop culture as the ultimate mysterious house.
So we come back around to that central, enduring question: what really motivated Sarah Winchester?
Was it all about appeasing restless spirits?
Or was it a physical manifestation of her deep grief, an elaborate way to cope?
Or maybe the ambitious, unconventional project of a truly unique, maybe even innovative mind?
It's hard to say for sure.
So as we wrap up our deep dive today, the Winchester Mystery House stands as this truly bizarre, captivating landmark. It feels like a physical representation of grief, obsession, and, well, the unexplained.
And that leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener. What single driving force do you think was behind Sarah Winchester's relentless, decades-long construction project?
Yeah, what do you think? And what is it about this strange, illogical place that just continues to draw us in and spark our imaginations?
Definitely something to mull over.
We encourage you to think about all the angles we've explored today and maybe reach your own conclusions about the ongoing mystery of the Winchester.